Hey guys, it's Nathan from the Kentucky Cycling YouTube channel. We are in Covington, Kentucky this morning at Devou Park. We're going to do a Trail Gnome tour. For those of you who haven't seen the Trail Gnome tour series but have watched this channel, you'll know that I myself am just an average Joe lover of all forms of cycling, master of none. To that end, I was trying to think about how I can actually highlight the good work of the trail stewards who do just amazing work throughout Kentucky to develop some of these mountain bike trail systems. And so the Trail Gnome tour is basically a guided tour, if you will, of the park. You're not going to see great feats here, at least performed by me, maybe by these guys. It's kind of aimed at if someone hadn't come out to a trail system before, they'll have a sort of a sense of how to approach it and get familiar with a particular park. So I'm here with Lee Ransdell, who is the head trail steward, and Liv Birkenhauer, who is the president of CORA, or the Cincinnati Off-Road Alliance. You have an amazing network of trails up here, not only in northern Kentucky, but also in southern Ohio as well. So Lee, let's start with you and just tell us a little bit about Devou and how kind of a trail system began out here.
So it's probably early 2000s. There was a guy, his name was Chad Irie, started working with the city of Covington. There was, I think it's like 300 and something acres on this side of what's Sleepy Hollow that was basically, it's all parkland, but it was never used. So he had a vision of, because they had some great elevation, to put some trails here. It took him 3 or 4 years of working with the city of Covington to finally get permission to start building. And then that was, I think, 2006, 2007, they started hand building some trails. That took off. We got some funding. They had machine built trails, and then we went to the other side, which is the main park side of the trails, and built some more trails. So now we're probably up to, 12 to 14 miles of trails, mostly machine built, and we have a few more miles on the books, kind of waiting to get some administrative things cleaned up, and we're going to get moving on those too. So it's been a great journey. Okay,
and coming out of Covington this morning, as you're driving towards the trailhead, there's actually a nice descent, and you kind of see this hill in front of you. I have a feeling that we have to give that back to get up to some of these trails.
Yes, sir.
So just kind of give us an overview of kind of trails that you have and some of the main features of this trail.
So the trailhead we're at now is called the Incinerator Trailhead parking lot. So there's one trail that goes up called Incinerator. It's about 1.25 mile climb. You're going to climb about 320 feet over that distance. And then when you get to the top, there's a nice about 2.5 mile loop that's called Bates Coombs Loop. And off of that, there's 4 or 5 different trails that'll take you down the hill, so you can then come back up the hill. And then we have another trail that kind of goes along the bottom side of the trail called Train Surfer, which is a termination point for some of the other trails. It's a really nice setup of climbs, fun descents, and if you want to just go to the top and hang out on the loop, what we call the Bates Coombs Loop, it's kind of more flowy, little ups and downs hills. So that's what I tell people. If you first come, climb the Incinerator Hill, do the loop in each direction. That may be enough for your day one, but if you want to go down a hill, you definitely have a descent coming out of here, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll say for the record, I like flowy. I'm with another guy here today. I'm riding with my buddy John, who is definitely more into that downhill. In Kentucky, there's not a ton of what you would call downhill parks with true downhill runs. Devou is kind of one of them, right? Mm-hmm. And we actually were just down in Berea a couple weeks ago, and they definitely have some downhill runs. And looking on your trail map and trail forks, is that kind of the big thing that people should use?
I think so. I like trail forks the best. Mountain Bike Project is another one, but trail forks is on my Garmin and on my phone app, so yeah.
And also I think on your website, is that correct?
And on our website is what we draw from.
Do check out that. And for those who haven't seen it, I'm going to include a link to the interview I did with Liv, kind of about CORA in general and all the different trails that they have. So I'll say, in looking on the Trail Forks trail map, people who are new to mountain biking may not know this, but basically green is beginner. Yeah. I love those trails. I dig on that. Blue is intermediate. That's where kind of personally I like to stop, but then black is advanced. So I noticed that most things out here are colored as blue. So is it fair to say that if you're coming here, there is some beginner friendly stuff, but the majority rider should have a decent intermediate skill set before coming out?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. And there are some over on the other side by the Dries Pavilion, the John Bulls Trail. And part of that is we're looking to add some more beginner friendly type trails to this system for that reason, because we'd like to see a mix of green, blue, and black on our trail
Yeah,
system.
yeah.
And there are a few black. So Devil's Backbone, Narnia, Devotion, kind of edging towards Devil's Backbone for sure. Black. Yeah.
Serious.
Okay.
Serious black.
Yeah. I'm happy to skip any
I don't have
serious
all the
black.
pairs.
Certainly, we'll learn, I guess, more about each of these. Sounds like the Incinerator Trail is the main way up.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about the Incinerator Trail. Like, where did it get that name? Why Incinerator?
Oh.
There was an old garbage incinerator building that used to be used, I guess, by Ludlow and maybe even Covington.
I think so.
Trucks would roll in this way, drop their garbage off, and then there's furnaces. You can still see what's kind of left of the building. There's a big smokestack. We'll see it at the trailhead when we go in. So that's kind of where it got its name.
Talk a little about the layout of the park and maybe the tour that you're going to take us on today.
We'll start on what's called the west side, where Incinerator is. So there's, I think, 7 or 8 miles of trails on this side. So we're going to go up Incinerator. We're going to do the loop. We'll decide on one of the trails to come down, and then we'll cross the street and try to hit two of the most popular trails over there are Full Monty and Sleepy Hollow. Both are fun trails. You got to climb up, but the descent is just so worth it coming back down each one of those trails. And then go further up in the park, and that's where the iconic view of the city of Cincinnati is. It's right by the Dries Pavilion. So if anybody's coming out, lots of people just come out to go for that view.
All right. Well, all that sounds good.
And the one thing that's unique about this trail system is that it is in an urban environment, and you see a lot of people come after work because they're close to downtown Cincinnati and come after work for a quick ride, where some of our other trail systems are out a little bit in some of our state parks and other areas. So we have quite a few connections into the neighborhoods here in Covington and Ludlow. It's our mission to do even more so we connect more neighborhoods to the park.
That's great. And I'll say for the record, we're here on a Saturday morning and the parking lot is full. This is clearly a popular place.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. I think it's popular for good reason. So
Yeah.
we're looking forward to seeing what it's all about.
We are at the infamous Incinerator building. So you can see there's lots of great graffiti on this. I'm not sure how old this building is, but you can see it's in quite the state of disrepair. There's a lot of Strava pictures that are taken back here. Band came back here, was shooting like album cover pictures. There's senior pictures are taken back here. It's a pretty neat building with lots of colorful graffiti. So
Cool. And this is really not very far up from the parking lot.
yeah, that trailhead is right behind us here.
So we're still at the incinerator area, but this is the base of the Incinerator
Trailhead.
Trail.
Yep, there's a trail sign there. So this starts taking you up the Incinerator Trail, and you'll go through about 3 or 4 switchbacks. You'll intersect on a trail called Train Surfer, which it's kind of more of a straight shot, but if you just keep following the switchbacks around, you'll take Incinerator all the way to the top to the Base Coombs Loop.
And you know exactly how many switchbacks are in this trail.
There's 7 switchbacks to get you up to the top before you start climbing along just the
And I bet you weed-eated every single one of them.
weed-eated, cleared trees, fixed poles. Yeah, done quite a few things. Currently at the junction of Incinerator and Train Surfer. So Train Surfer, as the sign says there, will go straight that way. That is kind of the termination point for some of the downhill trails. But we're going to keep going up Incinerator, which kind of does a little switchback here. It's going to take us further up the hill. We're about maybe a third of the way up. At the top of Incinerator, there's a little resting spot here, kind of on the Bates Coombs Loop. There's a few wooden benches that one of our trail stewards built a number of years ago. It's a good place just to stop, get a little rest, get a drink of water, maybe chat with some friends. It's generally a meeting point for probably all the trails up here. So it's a good place to stop for.
Little nutrition.
Yeah, a little nutrition if you need that.
Yeah.
This is the Bates-Coombs Loop, named after, I think, General Bates and General Coombs of the Civil War time period. And this is a 2.5-mile loop. So all the trails, if you want to go downhill, are off of this loop. So lots of fun downhill options that all kind of fall off this loop. Or like I said earlier, if you just want to do a loop to kind of get the feel of the trail system, this is a great way. Just go one direction, turn around at this point and go the other direction. And that could be a fun day just doing that. Yeah, we just came up a nice, like, big S-berm. We're at an intersection where there's an emergency access trail. This could get a little confusing. So the city put in some white markers with little yellow blazes on them. So if they need to get up here for any cases of emergency, they have a nice way in through a neighborhood over there. We're also at a point kind of behind me is where the Civil War battery is, Battery Bates. It's, you know, obviously you can't tell anything now with all the vegetation, but if you come here in the winter time, you can actually hike up there and still see some of the earthen walls where the battery was, and the rifle pits, and like the little military road. So it's kind of neat, and you can kind of get the vantage of that point, you know, that really high point in the forest. We're still on the loop on the left, but this is Back Bowl, a really fun, kind of flowy downhill trail. And it actually comes up the hill a little bit further down. It kind of comes back up the hill to the loop again. But this is a great fun trail if you want to jump off the loop to go down and then try to come up the other side of Back Bowl. They both have two personalities. This is kind of fun, flowy downhill. Coming up is really rocky and a little technical. If you make it to the top of that without stopping or dabbing, it's a great feeling, but you'll be sucking some air and grabbing for some water. We are at the beginning of Devil's Backbone Trail. I think the hardest trail in the trail system here at Devou. You can see, actually we have a sign up there. We don't want people to bypass this filter going in, because if you can't ride this, then you really shouldn't be on the trail, because there's some really challenging features, but there's a group of the population of riders that really love this thing. There's a group of people, Mitch Watson and a lot of other his friends, they moved all this rock and just built this trail over a few years. It's an amazing trail if you can ride it, and then to go down to the bottom, there's just lots of different features. There's drops, there's gap jumps, it's a lot of different things, if that's what you're into. There's
Troy, Chad, you mentioned Mitch, trying to do a little bit of everything for people on our trail system.
Yeah.
So this gave it some gnar.
Yeah.
And some more
It's a word that people use a lot. It doesn't come out of my mouth very often, but that's awesome for those guys. Yeah, and I also want to point out, this is really cool. We got a natural bike rack and a nice little ring over here.
Mitch, the guy who did a lot of work on this trail, he wanted a little hangout spot, and he put the board here for the bike rack just to kind of make it a kind of a welcoming spot for people just to hang out and chill.
Yeah.
And they'll session these a lot, so they'll go down Devil's Backbone, they'll go down Narnia, come back up, and that's what they'll hit all day long.
That's really a cool feature of these parks that offer these downhills is
Yeah.
there's a lot of rinse and repeat that goes on. What's the longest day in terms of mileage that you've done out here, Lee?
Oh gosh, I don't know, maybe 30 something.
Yeah.
miles. So we are at Narnia now, which is really just kind of a stone's throw from the top of Devils. A lot of the top of this was recently redone really over the last winter, where they put in some little kicker jumps, some little mini gaps, some little mini tabletops, and then there's another gap a little further down the trail. But everything has a ride around, so it's a very friendly trail. If you just want to go roll down it's very easy to do. There's a couple tight switchbacks at this big rock wall that's down a little bit further, but even that we've made that a lot easier in the last few months. But anyway, this would be a good warm-up trail, or if you don't want to do Devils but you want to get a little bit of air, this would be a great place to start. Taking a quick stop at Pig's Tail. It is a short downhill but very fun trail. It's a good kind of challenging trail if you want to climb up. It's probably the shortest trail to climb up as well, but it's got some pretty punchy parts of the climb. But it's very, very rideable up, or especially it's more fun obviously going down. But quick stop here, and then we're going to head over to Devou, which is only probably 100 yards, a little further. So now we are at the trailhead for Devou. This is the first really one-way downhill trail that was part of the system. It's been here for probably at least 10 years.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, some challenging sections, a couple small little jumps and stuff like that, but it's a great, fun downhill trail. So definitely, if you like downhill stuff, you definitely got to hit this one if you're going to stop out.
All right, so we're looping back around. We've completed that loop.
So we are at the kind of the bottom point of Back Bowl. We just came down what I call the smooth Back Bowl. As you can see here to my right, this is where Back Bowl then goes back up the hill. You can see the rocks in the beginning. That's kind of a little preview of coming attractions or what you're gonna see on most of that trail. It's a little challenging going up, but it's fun, kind of challenging technical way. So, and it's a lot of fun coming down. So if you're out here, try to ride Back Bowl both directions. And then if you want to head back to the parking lot, you go here to your left. This is where Train Surfer starts, and you just follow this. It terminates into Incinerator, which will take you right back down to the parking lot. Okay, so now we've just come from Back Bowl on Train Surfer. Kind of at a junction here. This is Pig's Tail, the last downhill section of Pig's Tail, which is a lot of fun coming down. But again, like we talked before, this is the shortest way to the top of the loop if you want to get up. And then if you want to head back to your car, kind of go to the left, stay on Train Surfer. It's got some little rocky sections to go through, and then it dumps you right back down onto Incinerator, and you are into the lot.
All right, Lee, so we're back down at the parking lot, and we're talking about heading over to the other side, but I understand there's an old way to do it, and now there's a safer way to do it.
Yeah, that's true. So the quickest and fastest, and I guess the oldest way, is to head up Sleepy Hollow. You go up that road, and just off to your left, you may be able to see it. There's a road called Montague that'll take you up into really the main side of the park. And then you'll see a trailhead as you go in there on your right. A number of years ago, there was an organization, Devou Foundation. They wanted us to build a safer access to that side of the park, and also for the city of Ludlow, which is right here to my left. So we built a trail. Can't really see it, but it kind of goes in over on this direction. It'll pop you out at the three-way stop over here, and then you kind of go down the road, go past the swim club, and it takes you along that hillside. It's just a much safer way into the park, and it's pretty scenic to go there as well. You get to go under the trestle, so definitely recommend that. Is definitely the safest way, and it's kind of a fun, scenic way to get to that side of the park as well. So we're now at the end of the Ludlow Connector Trail. This is Full Monty. This is the bottom part of Full Monty to our right. Takes you back down to the small gravel parking lot down there. Going up to the left here is a nice climb, but it's also a super fun downhill. So if you're gonna come on this side of the park, you definitely wanna ride this, I would say, first, and then Sleepy Hollow is over that way. You want to hit that second, or like we're going to do, we're going to go up on the park and see what else is up that way. So we just climbed up part of Monty, and we come to the intersection where Goat Path is off to, if you're going up, it'd be off to your right. So you can stop here on the bench. This was one of 4 benches that were put in as part of a couple of Eagle Scout projects. So there's 2 on the other side, there's 2 on this side. Goat Path takes you over to the entrance to the Sleepy Hollow trailhead. So that's a fun way to go. We're going to keep going up into the park and head on up Full Monty. So we are up in the park now. We are at the intersection of Prisoners Lake Drive, Park Drive, I think on that side. Montague's over here, Bandshell's over here. So just to show a big difference between this side and what we were just riding on what we call the backcountry side. We have a golf course up here. There's multiple shelters you can rent out. There's the golf course clubhouse up there. There's a lot of paved trails. There's a lake down this way for fishing. So that the park just has many other amenities, including the Behringer Crawford Museum, which used to be the house for the family that was last name was Devou. Many years ago, they donated this property to the city of Covington, along with a very sizable trust fund to help maintain the park. So their house has been turned into a museum, which is a great little local gem. So a lot to see if you want to come out here and ride. Maybe your family doesn't want to ride, they can spend the day up here in the park, and everybody can have a great day.
So Lee, I think you brought us to what might be the prettiest view of downtown Cincinnati, at least from the Kentucky side of the river.
Yes, definitely. This is a spot you definitely want to hit if you come up here. just an iconic view. You see it on any kind of major sporting event that happens in Cincinnati. There's always a camera up here. It's just a great place to come hang out, look at Cincinnati, relax. There's also trails up here. The Dries Pavilion is back here to the right. Over to the left, there's the trails called the John Bowles Trails. So those are probably the easiest of all the trail systems in Devou. So if you want to come up here, you know, parts of the family just want to hang out, they could hang out here. You can go ride the John Bowles Trails. They're very hikeable too. Walk your dog, run, whatever. And then there's further back, kind of backtracking the way we came here. It used to be called the Lewisburg Trail. It's now called the Josh Brenneman Memorial Trail. That's a little further back. That's a really fun downhill trail. Takes you into the west side of Covington. So again, but definitely this is a place you want to stop if you're coming into Devou Park just for a couple quick pictures, especially for Strava. We're going to head back. We came up Full Monty. We're going to go back down Full Monty, and then we're going to cut across Goat Path over to Sleepy Hollow, and then we'll do Sleepy Hollow and then back to the main gravel lot. Just came across the Goat Path. We went down Monty, cut across the Goats. We are at the start of the Sleepy Hollow Trail. This is actually called Old Monty. If you're coming back Old Monty from the gravel lot, you'll pass two other entrances to Sleepy Hollow. This is the third one, and this is really the way the trail is designed. So if you're going to ride Sleepy Hollow, definitely make the trip, come all the way back. You've got some climbs in the beginning, then you've got a really fun descent that leads you back out to the far side of the full Old Monty Road and right back to the lot.
All right, Lee, so we're back at the trailhead, and I have a distinct feeling that we've really just kind of scratched the surface of what's out here. So I want to thank you for giving us a really nice sampling of the really just pretty incredible trail system that you guys have created out here. I think that a lot of people are probably going to be drawn to the downhill section, but they should not miss out on what lies on the other side of the road. I'm saying really cool. So lots to explore. I doubt very many people see it all in one day. I mean, they're going to have to come back to really get a full appreciation for it. So now we're back at the trailhead, and you want to mention some resources that are
First, thanks for coming out. And yeah, it was a great day, perfect weather. At all of our trailheads, we do have maps. I tell people, maybe take a picture of the map to kind of tell you where you start. There's also these paper maps you can take with you that not only have all the trail information on it, but they also have all the other park amenities. So a really valuable resource. There's to my right, if you want to look for the trail conditions, so all of our trail conditions before if you're going to drive here from like a destination, you want to check the Cora MTB trail section, and you'll see the trail conditions for all the core trails. If they're red, maybe pick another day. Yellow or green, come on out and ride and enjoy it. Great. Yeah. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you so much for having us. This has really been exciting. This is John, have you ridden in Kenton County before?
This is
my first ride in Kenton County, and this is a really wonderful way to do it. Really wonderful resource. Encourage people to come check it out.
Yeah, sounds good. Look forward to seeing everybody.
As always, we hope you found this content useful. If you did, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks.